Good morning, everyone. This is Adam yet again. I am your backyard shade tree mechanic, and this is video number 2, same mower. Now, I had previously said that I had an issue where I had a customer's mower and the wheels were stuck. They wouldn't move after the customer had left the mower outside and the weather decided to rain on their parade. So the issue with their wheels has been fixed. Now, with this kind of report coming from the customer stating that the mower was left outside, it is a good idea to check the condition of the flywheel underneath the motor cover. So I have taken the mower cover off, and I'm going to show you what that looks like here in just a second. Let's flip this around. So here is the motor cover, and this has got your recoil pull cord attached to it. Take a look under here, and you can see that there's a little bit of dirt buildup and everything. And when you're looking at these things, when you've got it off, it's a good idea to go ahead and turn it around like this and see the underside. Now, when you pull this cord, you'll see these little teeth, these little levers that pull out. These are spring-loaded, and what they do is they engage your flywheel catch, which is this piece right here. And so these little teeth will engage right here, and they will push this in a direction that it's predetermined for. With it sitting like this, I can't really tell what direction that's going to be. But anyway, so what it does is it engages this so that it'll turn the crankshaft, which will in turn cause the coil to send a electric pulse down the wire here to your spark plug. Okay, so this is your spark plug wire, and your spark plug is right here underneath. So while I've got this cover off, with the report that she said she left it out in the rain, it's a good idea to check the condition of the flywheel and the coil here. And what you're looking for is any major rust buildup. And this coil and the flywheel actually looks fairly decent. So you're looking at this, and there's very little, if any, rust buildup on the flywheel, and there is a little bit on the coil. However, this mower does run, as I previously stated, and I actually had witnessed this myself, so I'm not in any doubts of whether or not the motor will actually turn over. Now, on the previous video, I did state that I would have to probably tilt the mower over to the carburetor side, which I also said that was a bad idea, and I would have to remove the carburetor if I had to do that. I actually did not have to remove the carburetor. I actually just put the mower over the edge of the tailgate on my truck here, and was able to coax this other wheel off. And as you can see, I have corrected the issue. And like I said before, all it is in these things, a lot of people think that there's bearings and things of that nature in here. There is not any kind of a bearing in here. You're not talking about a rider mower or a very heavy duty commercial mower. Some of those actually do have wheels with bearings in them. These, all they really are is a simple toothed sleeve. That's all it is. It's a spacer that goes directly between the space in the middle of this wheel. And actually, I've got a wheel over here I can show you. I'll go over here. So this is not the same type of wheel, but it is the same type of wheel system. Sorry about that. I had to pause the video for a train. That's part of the hazards of being a shade tree mechanic, I guess. So anyways, if you guys take a look here at the center where the axle goes through to the spot where the nut secures the wheel, you can see here that there is a metal sleeve inside of this wheel. that metal sleeve is supposed to stay with the wheel. And that metal sleeve actually engages with the metal axle on these mowers, and that was the source of her problem. She got water in there between that sleeve and the axle in which the wheel mounts to, and they rusted together and made that one solid unit. Well, now this wheel spins freely and this wheel spins freely, and that's exactly what you want with the mower to do, because otherwise you're going to end up having a problem pushing it around your yard. So we got that taken care of, but like I said, a good idea to check the condition of the flywheel with the report that it was sitting out in the rain. I will tell you, it only takes once with these new mowers to have them get out and rust. And the reason why is because this is a cast iron flywheel a lot of times, okay? Some of your newer mowers have actually gone to an aluminum, and this one actually is probably an aluminum cast. It looks like it is. But that being said, there is iron strips. And the reason why there are iron strips is because aluminum is non-magnetic. You've got to have magnetic connection here to engage the coil. The magnet in the spinning centrifugal motion of this flywheel is what allows for the spark to go to the spark plug and engage and keep your motor running. Okay, so that being said, that's what that is. Now, while we've got the cover off, you can see better what I was talking about with the carburetor. This particular carburetor is what I call a stupid carb, and the reason why I call it a stupid carb is because you have to plunge the bulb and everything in order to get it to go. Now, there are other carburetors that are called auto choke carburetors. I call them smart carbs because it's real easy, it's real smart. They should have done this a long time ago, but these are a recent thing, and they will actually have two engage cables, one from here to your governor arm, which is towards the back of the motor, and then they'll have another one on a rocker that goes over here and connects right in front of the muffler here, and it has a spring attached to it. And what that does is when you pull back on your run stop cable and you go to pull on the string to start your mower, it will auto choke it so that it presents a richer fuel to air ratio in order to start the motor on your mower here. And that allows you to start the mower quicker. And these particular plunging type carburetors, they are a little bit more finicky when it comes to starting and staying running and cold starts, etc. And you know, that's another topic for another video, unfortunately. So I will tell you, I got this off, and I'm not sure what I did with my socket. Here we go. Okay, so in order to get this cover off, there are three, and you can see them, 1, 2, 3. They match up evenly with the plate here. This is your mounting plate for the cover. So you've got 1, 2, and 3 at the back here. And these are the bolts that will come off of this cover in order to take it off. These are 5/16 on this type of engine, and they are universally 5/16 on this type of engine. This is the only type of engine where they have tried to actually standardize your bolt set and your screw sets. So when you pull one of these Briggs & Stratton motors apart, and it's this type of motor, you know, some of the older Briggs & Strattons may be a little bit different on measurements as far as the size bolts and screws and stuff that they've used. But on these newer ones that have the plastic carburetors, they have tried to standardize the bolt and screw set for the most part. There's going to be very little variation in that, which is a good thing, especially if you have a limited number of tools that you're working with. And I do recommend to get yourself a small tool set. I'm not being paid for this particular plug at all, but here's what I've got here. I've got a small standard and metrics Craftsman set. It is the 48 piece. I don't know if you guys can see that. 48 piece. Yeah. Great. So this is the basic set of sockets that I have and have started with, and I recommend this set highly. You cannot beat the strength and endurance of these tools here. There are some comparable like Snap-on and others. I don't necessarily subscribe to some of the cheaper tools unless, of course, it's not something that's going to be highly susceptible to breaking. But like I said, this particular bolt size is a 5/16, and they are really just, very simple to get out. If you have an issue with removal of these things, when you're taking your ratchet and you're loosening them up, it's real simple. You can just pull up on this cover here and they'll pop off with the cover, and just be sure that when you tilt it over that you're in an area where you can recover those really easily. I don't recommend being anywhere other than a concrete surface, but being a shade tree mechanic here, I'm working with what I've got. So I've got myself a little workspace here that I bought some rubber mats here from my local Tractor Supply. Again, I'm not being paid affiliate of any kind with these companies, but I do believe in promoting good quality equipment and tools when I get them. So that being said, I've inspected this. That's good to go. I'm not going to have to do any cleanup on this. That's going to save me a little bit of time on this project for this lady. I'm not charging her an arm and a leg for it. A lot of people, that you go to a shop and everything, and your average shop is going to be somewhere between $60 and $100 an hour, and they will charge you for the entire time that your piece of equipment is there. And I don't necessarily subscribe to that as being fair. So I will say this: the carburetor here is a little bit on the dirty side. You can take some carburetor cleaner and spray that off, or even if you wanted to, you could actually take a pressure washer and wash that off. I do recommend, if you do use a pressure washer or a high-powered sprayer on a hose to clean your mower off, make sure all of your hoses and everything are 100% secured. That's the first thing. The second thing is, once you are done, I would take an air compressor. I do recommend getting an air compressor, and I would air it off. Make sure that it's nice and dry and everything. And shortly after it's totally dry, I would go ahead and attempt to start the motor to make sure that you don't have any issues with firing. That's the thing that I would recommend. And again, this is just a real simple thing. Simple things like this make your mower last a lot longer than it normally would. And the manufacturers don't expect you to know these things or do these things. They expect you are going to buy a brand new mower once every year or every 2 years or so. And that's not something that's necessary. My goal here is to make sure that people are aware of just how simple it is to work on these things and save themselves some money. It's really not a hard thing to do.